Hello, thank you for joining me. It's Georgia down in Australia, and today I'm just going to do a very quick run through of how to attach Bible tabs onto your Bible. Now, you can do this on your reading Bible or on your art/journaling Bible. It's the same principle. Now, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. Today, I'm going to be using my own designed Bible tabs, which can be found in my Etsy store. Or if you are a Panic Room patron, you will have free access to these. Now, first thing to take note of, and I'll say that now because if you have a look, I've started to stick some of them, and if you have a look at this side of my Bible, you're going to see there's this very big gap here. So I would suggest whatever tabs you are using, I'm just going to open to a random page here. Before you get started, actually grab your tabs and have a look and do some sort of measurement. Now, you know me, I tend to do everything just, eyeballing style. So even if you're just doing it the way I do, I'm just having a quick look and seeing if I put these end to end along the edge of my page, five of these pretty much take up the entire page. Now, what I did when I started was I did not do that measurement, and I thought I'll just do a little bit of an overlap between one tab and another, and it was only a small overlap, but by the time I got to the end, I realized it was just not going to work. So I've got this great big gap here. So if you're a perfectionist, do your measuring first. If you're like me and you're like, oh, we'll see what happens, then, just see what happens. Okay, so I'm just hopping to the next book that I am ready to attach. And before I actually stick the Bible tab on, something I highly recommend is reinforcing the edge of your page. Now, Bible pages tend to be a lot thinner than regular book pages. Even the art Bibles tend to be quite thin. And if you are printing your tab, or if you've purchased your tab and they are on even a lightweight cardstock, and mine is a lightweight cardstock, but it's still quite strong, whatever it is that you're using, you're not going to be printing it on thin paper like your Bible page. It's going to be on something that is thicker and stronger than the page, and so over time, with wear and tear, you will end up with the page ripping unless you reinforce the edge. Now, I tend to do that with just some washi tape. There's a couple of ways you can do it. The way I prefer, I'm just going to tip this over for ease of use. The way I prefer is to have the tape half on and half off the page. It's a lot easier with this book that has dotted lines for journaling. So I've laid a strip down along the edge of the page so that it half overhangs. Now, be very careful when you do this bit that you don't have two pages stuck together, because sometimes the tape will stick to the next page and you'll end up sticking two pages together. So make sure you have a single page and you then fold your tape over. I go from the middle and gently but firmly push my way along the edge, and then I have the entire edge of my page is reinforced. I know it's not even, it's larger on one side than it is on the other, but this is my art Bible and my pages do tend to be covered with paint and whatnot, so I'm not really concerned about the neatness of the washi tape because I'm probably not going to see it. Okay, now I'm ready to stick my tab. Now, some people would argue that I should not be putting it on this side because all tabs should be on the right-hand side, but I just like to have it on whatever page is the first page of that book. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to turn my page a little bit so I can get to the top. Now, actually, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn the page over because I just find it easier to work from the right-hand side. I've cut my tab out. Now, if you have downloaded something that is this kind of a shape and you have one of those clever scan and cut machines, you can try and put that through and see, put in your magic numbers or whatever you need to do. I'm old school. I just use a pair of scissors and I've cut mine out. Of course, you might have tabs that are already cut out if you've purchased a physical pack. Now, I fold it in half. Okay, so this is my tab. I folded it in half. If you're a messy cutter, at this point you might want to trim the edges so that both sides are the same. Now opening it up, I am going to put glue on just one side all the way along. I then line it up from behind the page. Now I'm simply doing it because this is easier for me. You might find it easier to work this way, but I just find it easier like this. Lining it up, I then put glue just on the very bottom part of the second side, fold it over. Now while my glue is still fresh, I have a little bit of time to sort of have some wiggle room and line it up properly. And because I'm using art glitter glue, it's going to dry very fast. Now, this is the way I'm leaving mine. Now, like I said, that was one way of reinforcing your pages. Another way would be to put an entire strip of washi tape on one side, right up to the very edge, and then again on the other side. And if you did that, you then have the choice of doing the washi tape first with a tab over the top. Some of you might look at that and go, ooh, I really don't like that. Or you could put the tab first and then put your strip of washi tape over the top of that, like so. Now, method number 3 is to do it the way I have, so that you have that folded over tape. I do prefer doing it this way because it just really, really reinforces the very edge of the page. But if you don't like seeing that bottom bit of the tab, then you can cut an extra piece of tape. I'm really being the guinea pig here today. I've got all sorts of different ways of sticking things. You can grab yourself an extra piece of tape and just put it along the edge of your tab, so that will cover the bottom of the tab, plus give it some extra reinforcement. Now I know I've got that sort of strange shape going on there, but that does not bother me at all. So how you do this kind of depends on how much of a control freak you are and how precise you like things. Turning my page over, and another way to do it is actually to cut your washi tape down, so that once you've covered the bottom of your tab, it's, well, almost the same. Now when you get to your next book, I have already reinforced the page here for 1 Samuel. So grab your Bible tab, fold it in half, and before you stick your tab down, I suggest going to the page where you're going to stick it, lining it up with your previous one so that you know you're putting it in the right place, and just adding a little mark there so that you know this is where I'm going to stick it. So when you then grab your glue, make sure it's only one page, so you have your little marker spot right there. And if you keep doing that all the way down the page, you will have them lined up just perfectly. Okay, that's the second one. So when I close this up, line up like this. Okay, so that's a few different ways of attaching your tabs to your Bible. The only other thing I would say is make sure that you have plenty of time on your hands when you're doing this. This is not the sort of thing that you rush through. You need time and patience, so set some time aside for yourself to stick them, or just do them a small amount at a time. Keep coming back to them when you do have time. Don't rush and try and get the book done too quickly, because that's how accidents happen. Okay, so that's how to stick tabs onto your Bible. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.